We have our next speaker is Sidi Ahmed Berrabah, and Sidi is a PhD candidate at the University of Limerick. His supervisors are Dr. Clive Earls from Maynooth University, Professor Jean Conacher from University of Limerick, and Dr. Elaine Reardon, also from the University of Limerick. Sidi's research focuses on English as a medium of instruction. His research explores the introduction of EMI in business degree programs across 3 Algerian universities, focusing on how multilingual realities influence educational practices, policies, and linguistic identities. Fluent in Arabic, French, and English, Sidi has expertise in interpreting and translation, and also university teaching experience in research methodology, intercultural studies, and English for specific purposes. So, Sidi, very best of luck, and we look forward to your talk.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Hi, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Mark Hennessy and Dr. Yulia Karshenko, and also my supervisor, Dr. Clive Earls, for giving me this chance to be with you today. So my name is Sidi Ahmed Berrabah. I'm a PhD candidate at the University of Limerick, and I'm specialized in research about EMI in the Algerian context. Just to check if you can see me well and you can see my presentation. Thank you. So my topic today is about navigating multiple realities, translanguaging and EMI in Algerian business degree programs. So I will start with the context of the study and some research questions of this study, and then I will be speaking about the research design methodology, and then I will give an overview about the key findings which I had in my research project. So as a research context, there have been like few studies of EMI in the Algerian context, which are published to date, and also some limited studies on EMI in some similar contexts, like the Tunisian context or the Moroccan context, or context in North Africa and the Middle East. So there was still a limited understanding of how EMI is perceived in and experienced in the Algerian unique linguistic landscape. So in Algeria, there is a set of languages in this context due to the nature of the country. There was a French colonization of more than a century, and this which affected the Algerian language policy. So French was dominating language policy, education, including higher education and also business degree programs, even in the era of post-colonial Algeria. So Arabic is the official language of the country, and this is based on the Algerian institution, but French is still used as a medium of instruction in different fields, including business degree programs. So there is some positive attitudes towards French, but the French language, and also some negative attitudes towards French. However, it's still used as a language of instruction. And now, due to the globalization and internationalization, English is growing rapidly in the Algerian context. So in my research project, I aim to explore the perceptions of students and content lecturers of business and English for specific purposes lecturers in the business degree programs in Algerian universities. And I did this study in 3 different Algerian universities in 3 different regions. So for the first research question in my project was how do students and lecturers perceive the implementation of EMI in business degree programs within Algerian universities, particularly in relation to existing languages of instruction. My second research question, what are the language practices observed in business degree programs within Algerian universities? And the third research question was, how do language policies in Algerian higher education reflect and shape beliefs and practices in management within business degree programs? So as I was explaining at the beginning, Algeria is, for some of you might have some knowledge about this country, it's a North African and Arab country with a complex history of language policies and education reforms. So in Algeria, language policy has been changing all the time since the French colonization, and French was dominant, and most of the schools were teaching in French, and even in after the independence of Algeria, there were many attempts to implement the Arabization policy, just to introduce Arabic as a medium of instruction, but French was still dominant. So there is a complex linguistic history, and there was also the increasing significance of English amid globalization. And now the goal of introducing EMI in the Algerian higher education and also in business degree programs is related to the internationalization and enhancing employability in the global job market. So regarding this project, I conducted a study across 3 Algerian universities located in distinct regions in the east, the west, and the center. And I attempted to do this based on the organization of the Algerian Ministry of Higher Education. So for the organization of universities in Algeria, there is Region West, Region Center, and Region East. So I attempted to collect data from different regions, and the purpose is addressing the multilingual reality in Algerian higher education, and they try to examine how regional differences might impact the introduction and the reception of EMI within business education context. With regard to the research design and methodology, I did multi-site mixed method approach, and I used both quantitative and qualitative data. So I used questionnaires, semi-structured interviews, and classroom observations across 3 different regions in Algeria. And as you can see in the figure, I attempted to do a triangulation, but let me give the credit to my supervisor, Dr. Clive Earls. It's a triangulation of triangulation. So I did try to do locational triangulation, center of Algeria, east of Algeria, and the west of Algeria, and instrument triangulation using classroom observations, questionnaires, and semi-structured interviews. Perspectival triangulation, I attempted to collect data with students, and they are final year BA students and lecturers of business, and also lecturers of English for specific purposes. So in my study, I adopted the purpose of stratified random sampling. And as I was explaining, I employed 3 different types of triangulation. And the purpose here was a nuanced understanding of the regional differences and also the multilingual educational context within Algerian universities, because I didn't want to collect data just from from a certain university. And before starting the project, or before starting my PhD project, I was an ESP teacher, and there was this idea of introducing EMI in business degree programs where I was teaching. So there was like a local initiative from the part of professors and the Faculty of Economic Studies at my home university. And that was before the reintroduction of EMI from the part of the Ministry of Higher Education. And until 2023, there was this introduction of EMI from the Ministry of Higher Education across all the universities in Algeria, across all the fields of study. So as I was explaining in my research methodology, I used questionnaires, and I used questionnaires to gather broad quantitative data from a large sample of lecturers and students, and this helped to gather insights into their attitudes towards EMI. So I gathered data about the language preferences, educational backgrounds, and also general attitudes towards the use of English, and also other languages which are present in the in business degree programs. Semi-structured interviews, and I used this tool to delve deeper into the specific challenges and the opportunities that lecturers and students are facing within EMI. So I did interviews with business lecturers and also ESP lecturers, and this allowed to explore different views and experiences that could not be fully captured through questionnaires. And I also did classroom observations across different universities. So I did 12 classroom observations within fundamental modules of business and also the module of English for specific purposes. So observing language use and teaching methods and student and teacher interactions, this offered a valuable context to the data which were collected via questionnaires and interviews. So as I was explaining, I gathered data in the different universities, and I got a very high response rate. I could gather data from around 169 participants, including 29 business lecturers and also 9 ESP lecturers. And I also did 12 classroom observations, and the data collection process it was for a couple of months. So insights were obtained through the interviews and also questionnaires and observations. So for the analysis and responses from the questionnaires, which involved coding and entering the data into statistical software, and that was a bit challenging because when I was gathering data, I was aiming to gather data through Qualitrix. However, I realized later in the piloting that Qualitrix did not work in the Algerian context, so I had to go for paper-based questionnaires and then to use Qualitrix for completing data collection and also for the analysis. So I used Qualitrix and SPSS for the analysis of the data. Qualitative analysis, I used that for the open-ended responses in the questionnaires and also in the interviews. And I did a thematic analysis to identify the themes, and they came and they had 3 main themes in my research project, and among them was translanguaging, which I will be explaining in the upcoming slides. So one of the main findings from this research is that there is a complex linguistic landscape within Algerian business degree programs, and there is this prevalence of translanguaging, which is considered as a pedagogical strategy. So the findings underscore that there is a cultural and symbolic significance of languages like Standard Arabic and also Amazigh. So Standard Arabic is the official language in Algeria, but Amazigh, which is used by a minority in the Algerian context, and in one of the universities which I visited and I did data collection, but it still has some cultural significance like Standard Arabic. So as we can see in the table, there are positive attitudes towards the introduction of EMI, and as we can see, students strongly agree, or 35% of them strongly agree, and 42% of students agree with introduction of EMI. For business lecturers, 51% of them strongly agree, and 37 of business lecturers agree with the introduction of EMI. Yeah, so for translanguaging, there is this tension between English or EMI and also the dominance of French, which remains used in the Algerian context. As we can see in the figure, each language in business degree programs in particular is framed in a certain way. So if we can take Amazigh, is framed as a language of the minority. Darija, which is the Algerian Arabic dialect, and Standard Arabic is framed as the language of identity, and it has also some religious significance. French is language of colonialism. This is what was found in the study, but it's still the main medium of instruction. English is language of the globe and internationality. So in this study, I found that translanguaging goes beyond code switching, and there is a strategic use of translanguaging by using the full linguistic repertoire of both lecturers and students just to enhance communication and learning outcomes. So this practice challenges monolingual ideologies, and the findings reveal that French and Darija, like the Algerian Arabic and also Standard Arabic, dominate classroom interactions, while English is still marginal. So there is positive attitudes towards EMI, but English is rarely used in the classroom. So the findings of study align with the findings of two in 2021, who observed that translanguage strategies effectively support the introduction of EMI by utilizing student existing linguistic resources. So among the personal experiences which I had with my research methods is that there was some challenges and I tried to provide some solutions. One of the challenges is the multilingual use. I was trying to gather data through French and Arabic and English because I had to give the participants the chance to use any language they prefer just to be able to gather data. And what I got is that some participants responded only in French, some of them only in Arabic, but some participants preferred to use different languages at a time. And this made the analysis process more challenging, and they had to find more solutions for that. Among the implications which I had for this study is the gradual implementation of EMI. So in this study, I found that the EMI cannot be fully implemented at a time, but it should be gradually introduced. And this is what the Ministry of Higher Education didn't do when they introduced EMI in 2023. So the Minister of Higher Education directly sent communications to different universities to introduce EMI in different fields of study, including business degree program. And the students and the lecturers didn't feel comfortable studying and learning through EMI, and there should be a gradual introduction of EMI. The role of translanguaging in EMI, it emerged as a key pedagogical strategy, and it emerged as it can facilitate EMI by allowing students and lecturers to use multiple languages using French, Arabic, and also English. One of the implications is the need for lecturers training in EMI and also student training. So many lecturers may not be fully prepared to teach in English, even if they have a certain level of English language proficiency, but they feel that they need a lecturer training to teach in EMI. One of the implications also is the policy recommendations for EMI in Algeria. So the study suggests that EMI policies should be context sensitive, so the context should be taken into consideration, and the language proficiency of the students and lecturers should be taken into consideration as well. Also, the introduction of EMI should take into consideration the linguistic nature of the society or the degree program, like in business. French is used, Arabic is used as well. Yeah, and that's everything. Thank you for your attention, and your questions are you're welcome for questions. Thank you.
Sidi, thank you very, very much for that really interesting presentation. So our talks are finished, guys. I'll open up the floor if anyone has any questions for Yulia or for Sidi. We'd be very, very interested in hearing any questions you might have. Okay, so Janira, your hand is up. Yeah, work away.
Sorry, Mark, I was going for the applause.
Oh, okay. So you don't have a question. Not to worry. Not to worry. Do you have any questions from any other colleagues here? If you have, please put up your hand. Clive, yeah, go ahead, Clive.
I have a question for actually each of the speakers today. So maybe we'll start with Yulia because she was first. Yulia, do you see any sort of new themes or tropes emerging in research around EMI that we haven't really seen up until this point, or is this very much kind of an intensification of existing research? You're on mute, Julia, just so you know.
It's such a varied field. There's always something new emerging in various different areas that I mentioned. Perhaps the one that caught my eye, and I'm sure you would agree, is the intercultural competence in EMI settings. And what is and we talked about this a little bit in January with people who were present. In EMI setting is such a convergence of cultures and